What's going on, guys? Summer has returned to the kingdom and I'm sweating my gonads off, but that's okay because it's a beautiful day and that's what I want here before it gets all overcast and gloomy. What's going on? We had Champions League football last night. That was fun. Not so much fun at the Etihad. Erling Haaland just continuing to score goals, break insanely mental records with his goal scoring. KDB having to get hooked early doors because one of his teammates was sent off with a red card. So it was a bit of a sad return to the Etihad for old KDB. Gotta feel bad for him, really. You do. But I do want to talk about Barcelona. Marcus Rashford's Barcelona scoring. Of course, he scored two absolute belters. Gordon got one back, but ultimately it was a comfortable Barcelona win. And of course, all roads lead back to Manchester United. Have they made the right or wrong decision? Of course, this weekend they play Chelsea, my mob, and you know, the narrative is rife with Alejandro Garnacho. But I want to speak about Rashford a little bit as well because they're like the option to buy him is like 25 million quid or something, and he still has like 2 years left on his deal. He's still like in his prime, and if he starts popping off like this, Barcelona will be like, "Thank you very much, mate." We're gonna get into it, guys. Welcome back. How are you all? Thank you for joining me. Thank you for supporting the content, for liking and subscribing. I just want to let you know in real time how we are doing for subscribers because I'm trying to get to 20k, 19,761. So what's that? 239 away. So thank you for your continued support, liking, commenting, hyping. Is it down here somewhere? The hype button. Yeah, man, so let's talk about the football. Marcus Rashford, mate. It is lovely to see, because I don't know if he even had scored so far. He might have got an assist or two. I'm not entirely sure. Feel free to correct me in the comments, but I don't think he'd scored at this point. And both those goals he scored away in the Champions League at, you know, a Premier League team in Newcastle who slapped up PSG, what was it, 4-0 a couple of seasons ago. A very good team, Newcastle. And, you know, under the lights at St. James's, back in the Champions League, a special feeling, an amazing atmosphere. A really hard game, ultimately, for Barcelona. Hansi Flick's Barcelona. No Lamine Yamal, which is probably the reason why Rashford started this game. He started on the left channel. And both his goals, bro, like the first one, it's like a bullet centre-forward style header that he, you know, busts a gut to get into position to win and execute incredibly well. It's a really good header. But not just that, what highlights it is who's standing a few feet away from him. It's Robert Lewandowski, the most like conventional top tier number 9 you will ever see. And he's just next to him like watching, you know, Rashford, who, let's be fair, is like a transitional wide player, isn't he? Like wants to play in the left channel, not quite a 1v1 winger, not kind of like proper centre forward, but I tell you, he finished out like a proper meat and potatoes centre forward, proper number 9, mate. Again, in front of Lewandowski, like, there you go, mate, I can do that too. Lovely scenes, lovely stuff, love to see it. And of course he scores an absolute beauty as well. A golazo, a belter, a long range drive, kissed a bit of the woodwork on the way in. And I wanted him to stay on to score a hat-trick. Has he? I don't think he's scored a hat-trick for Man United. He's certainly never scored a Premier League hat-trick. Because that's like, you know, the online banter culture wars. It's like Saka and Rashford haven't scored hat-tricks in the Premier League. Because whenever someone scores a hat-trick, so-and-so has scored a hat-trick before, you know, these guys. He may have done in other competitions. Again, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. I can often be wrong, so... And it's an absolute beauty, that goal. I wanted him to stay on to complete a hat-trick, but he was pretty gassed, I think. He was really putting a shift in. And, that, you know, he spoke glowingly about Barcelona afterwards, says, I want to play here for many more seasons. Hansi Flick waxes lyrical about Rashford. He really wanted him. He, like, tried to get it over the line. Like, it's a player that he wanted. And you can kind of see why, in terms of how he's effective in the attack, how he's a different style of them attacking and playing and running into space and, you know, exploiting weaknesses and, you know, maybe high lines, or just with scoring headers in the box and scoring long range golazzos. That, again, which all roads lead back to Man United, don't they? Here we are, going back to the well, putting them under the, under the microscope. Now, of course, they have a great opportunity to beat you know, my team Chelsea at home. And as many people keep saying, wow, Chelsea, they'll walk all over them, they'll cruise this. Man United have been in the banter era for I say well over a decade, but they've fluctuated in and out of this sort of banter era. Chelsea haven't won there since Alex Ferguson, it's like 13 years or something, which is mental. And in that 13 years, I tell you, there has been some very poor iterations of Manchester United that have had pundits, you know, scratching their heads on different sports channels going, this is Manchester United we're talking about. What's going on? What's going on? So there's been plenty of banter era for Chelsea to underwhelm there. But of course, there's also the opportunity for a Garnacho to score at Old Trafford. There's a lot of rumblings suggesting he might start after watching, you know, certain options on the left-hand side for Chelsea lately, how he might make more sense, possibly. There's been some speculation on that. Garnacho cost Chelsea 40 million quid, which isn't nothing. It isn't nothing. In the future, we will learn if that was a fair enough purchase or if that was a really good deal. Because there are some people around Manchester United, you know, people that are affiliated with The Athletic, journalists that have people that are inside the club that think this will prove to be an incredible deal for Chelsea. I'm very much jury's out, but we'll see. Is that a player that Ruben Amorim pushed out, that Ruben Amorim didn't want, that will come back and not bite him, because he might not be in the club forever, even very long. I mean, I'm struggling to see how he stays on, unless he has a great result against Chelsea, turns it around. Of course, they had all week to prepare this game, and Chelsea had their first training game session back today on Friday. The day, I think we will have one training session and they'll have a whole week. So if they do beat Chelsea, then he can switch the narrative. But in the meantime, it's players like Garnacho that he pushed out. Even Marcus Rashford. Like, I know Rashford a long time ago did that interview with Henry Winter, like saying it's time for a change. But you know, I'll have to double check the narrative of Rashford and Amorim, if it was Amorim that was pushing him out, or if it was Rashford that made the decision that then prevented Amorim wanting to play him, because I don't want to be unfair on Amorim. If there's a player that's already, you know, that's indicated he wants to leave, you know, all good coaches go, right, fine. Like, for example, Guardiola does that all the time with his players. As soon as he gets a whiff of them wanting to leave, he's like, fine, yeah, no worries, I'll sell you. Because it's what you should do. You need everyone to be like pulling together. But yeah, I mean, how can you not feel good? It would take a very cold heart to not feel good for Marcus Rashford in that brace. And of course, Thomas Tuchel was in attendance at St James's Park watching those goals for Rashford. And you know, penny for the thoughts of Man United fans, because even though when he's sold, he will be represented as a pure profit asset. How old is he? 27, 28? Like, not like comfortably a while of 30 to be going for £25 million. Like, I mean, he's 27, yeah. So he turns 28 at the very end of October. So sort of I mean, he'll be a while off 29. He'll be like a good while off 29 by the time his option comes in another couple of years. So it could be an absolute bargain for Barcelona to buy him. And it's just, you know, he's of course, Garnacho's a profit. There we are, an argument there. It wasn't nowhere near enough as much as a profit. He was purchased from Atletico Madrid. People forget that. Rashford's pure profit, definitely. You know, probably no way. He's the icon of English football, of Manchester United to a degree. They won't be getting enough money for him, and of course gargantuan losses on Højlund, Antony, Sancho, the rest. But the narrative can be switched again. Fascinating. Touch wood, we batter them, but from a Manchester United perspective, they have an opportunity to switch the narrative against Chelsea. I mean, I'm just hoping he doesn't, but it does seem like these players want out. It's like Kobe Mainoo as well. Like, it's probably worth speaking about him for a couple of minutes, because you want to talk about Ruben Amorim pushing players out. Ruben Amorim is a weird one with Kobe because he blocked his move. Kobe asked to leave. He wanted to go on loan maybe because he recognises it's a World Cup year. In the summer, England will be going to the World Cup in America. He started the last international competitions final under Southgate, lest we forget. He started that final in the midfield, and he'll have designs to be playing, you know, even if he doesn't start, to at least be in the squad and hopefully be utilised off the bench regularly for England, for Tuchel. But Amorim's not been playing him, and in like a system where, you know, Manchester United fans will tell you they're desperate for proper midfielder reinforcements, not playing attacking midfielder Bruno in a double six. You know, someone a little bit more functional, maybe someone like Mane who can make the midfield tick more. You know, who's posting stuff on social media where Cole Palmer was saying, "Free my boy." Do you know what I mean? And he wanted to go, but his move was blocked. So again, it's the manager's right, it's Amorim's right to be like, no, I want you to play you off the bench every now and again. That's his right. Do you know what I mean? But it's very interesting to see how he keeps everyone happy. It's been a very turbulent period for United, huge purge of players. And but you got to be happy for Rashford because that was an absolute stunner of a performance, man of the match. Let me know your thoughts. Thanks for joining me. I like to talk about all things football here, so please do consider subscribing. All right, mate. Peace.